You're listening to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, and you just heard Tears for Inanna, the latest single by Billboard charting new age and world music recording artist Kaliyani. And Kaliyani is a spiritually inspired visionary, a producer, and artist whose dream is to offer herself as an instrument for the betterment of humanity and uplifting of consciousness on the planet. Cannot say no to that.
Wow.
Amen, sister. Okay. Go get her music on iTunes and go to her website and go watch on her YouTube channel the movies that go with this. I mean, it just takes you on a beautiful journey. Go to KaliyaniMusic.com, and I'm going to spell that out. It's KaliYani, KaliyaniMusic.com. Welcome, Kaliyani. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to have you on this show, and your music is just so moving and so beautiful. I'm like, I need to use that to meditate to in the mornings. I think it just gives you that. There's like a big, to me, like this big connection to nature with it.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that. Couldn't agree with that more, for sure.
Yeah, the nature, it's like, as I was saying, she's Earth Mama. She's Earth Mama coming on our show today, which is exciting. Tell us about your name, your recording artist name, Kaliyani.
That was interesting because I have never heard that name until I heard it in meditation. I was in my garden and I was doing my practice, and I had been dabbling with the idea of having a separate name from, the name I use every day. I have identified myself with being, inserted in this matrix of life and going through all these different passages and felt so much baggage in it and so much things that I had already left behind that were attached to that name. And I had written a book at the time as well. And I was thinking, it's good to just be able to separate, and not. When this music was coming through, it felt like a part of a different aspect of me that wasn't really connected to the daily, routines that's attached to my name. It just felt heavy. And I just allowed it to, whenever. It was in my awareness for about, 2 or 3 years to actually, do I or do I not use a pen name for my book, or do I not? And then the music came through. And when the music came through, I was in meditation. I heard the name in my head. And I immediately, I opened my eyes and I jumped. And I ran inside the house and into my computer because I thought, how interesting. I never heard this before. And I love it, So that's how it came to me. It's just like,
it's beautiful.
It sounds like, to me, it sounds like a flower blooming.
Yeah, I think that's
I
in
love
your
that.
music. It does. It is like a flower blooming, opening up.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, even reading your background in psychology and the work you have done, which is extensive, even because I know you're from Brazil originally, right? From Rio de Janeiro?
That's
and
right.
coming over here. And so, and being a mom with children. And I mean, I think that when you work in psychology and psychiatry, it is heavy because there's not just your own life and then your children's life, but then everybody else that you're interviewing and dealing with in that work. That becomes heavy, like you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's amazing how this happened, and because music, you weren't. I think that if I said to everybody, we have an artist coming from Rio de Janeiro on our show today, they're going to think you're going to play samba and Brazilian guitar music, right?
Yeah, some bossa nova or something.
Yeah, the bossa nova. That's right. And so when you think about it, it's when your music is so pure and it's very ancient to me, incredibly, but ancient, but now. And I think sometimes. And I think also with your videos, the video work, you're showing all these different worlds, especially for women, different roles and worlds, and the natural aspect being there. But it feels very ancient. It's almost very like Merlin, but you're not in Merlin place. But I don't know how to explain that. But you're in these spheres that we've traveled through. So you've got the ancient times coming to now, not only as the visuals, but also in your singing. If that makes sense. It's very ancient.
I think you're very much on point. I think it's a very good perception because it is very ancient. It feels very ancient to me. And it's definitely...
It could be dimensions.
Yes, definitely that too.
Oh, yeah, okay, Nancy's going to get all tripped out now. No, because she gets into this weird thing about dimensions when we're traveling everywhere.
Well, no, because
it's cool. It's cool.
It's
not weird. It's cool.
For a time we had a psychic on our show, Jamie. Remember?
Jamie.
What's his last name?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go. I know him.
And we should recontact him. But we used to often talk about the idea of how you kind of shed one skin and go
Jamie
into
Clark.
to not Jamie
Clark.
Okay.
Well, we are multidimensional beings. I think we all have
so you go
multidimensionality,
and
you can refer to it in so many different ways. You can call it different dimensions of self, or you can just see it as archetypal patterns within our making, our personality, or different aspects. Like if we're really made of light, because everything is energy, with quantum physics we're getting to that. It's like you break the light, it turns in the rainbow colors. Each ray represents an aspect of ourselves in a frequency. And we're usually very, we're very, we accommodate ourselves within a certain range, and we don't go, we all are kind of tend to station in a certain ray, and when we go outside of it, it's like outside our comfort zone. That's where we place simplistically extroverts or introverts or, all different kinds of people who are funny, people who are not funny, people who understand certain aspects of being. Others just think that is weird or strange or outside of their realm. I mean, this is all aspects of being, and I think, there are some of them that are really unique and very ancient, and you can look at it from that lens as well, like this part of us that remembers our, potentially past lives, past passages in history, and our soul connects to that, And I think that's how the music came to me. It's more like a memory almost.
But it's like channeling through. It's like, do you think that when you are recording and singing and creating, do you go into that other place? Like, you're calling up you, but in a different time, in a different place, that other dimension. But the dimensions never really leave. They're there.
Definitely, yes. And I think that's why when I've worked with these two tracks specifically, my first two, it's what came through to me. I had to spend some time with it, and I had to be completely alone. It's a process almost like going into, and I think every creative process is like that. A lot of artists, if they're sculptors, painters, or it doesn't matter. Art is a channeling process as well as getting deeply connected to your feeling body, your soul, and whatever's wanting to be communicated from a non-logical sense. And because my music so far has no words that are comprehensible or logical, or the mind is disengaged, which, again, it is even more a process of really opening the channels, the feeling channels, and the spirit body, and just kind of letting it speak to you without having the interference of your mind, So it's really authentic and beautiful, and it's really whatever. It's almost like it's not really me, because we are so identified with the mind, right? If I'm not controlling, if I'm not, it's just pure frequency of feeling and tone and connection to this place that's very ancient in me, and that I connected to, and that I was at the time even studying very deeply.
I think it's timely because you're very, it's a very feminine, yet very, very strong. And I think, women have been strong, since day one. There's this strength that we have. And we've gone through different phases as society keeps changing its roles and changing its mini coats and pants and dresses and whatever you want to say. We keep changing, but women, that strength has always been there, and there is that beauty. But a lot of times us women will take that beauty and kind of put it aside and kind of switch gears of strength. If we're going to be strong, we can't be the feminine beauty we are. And
I love where you're going.
I think that we are able to do both, and it doesn't really matter what your sexual preference is. It is about being that true. I mean, we've done a whole panel discussion on integrity right before you came on the show, and I think this is really part of who you are, and what you're putting out there for us in the world is integrity of the deep, deep down true spirit of who you are, but not just of this moment, but that strength, that beauty, because you do not need to trade one for the other. It's about being able to have both, because that's the true self, strength and beauty.
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know if you know, but Tears for Inanna was inspired in this goddess from ancient Sumerian times. She's the most venerated goddess known in history for over 4,000 years, and she actually, different authors and different historians will interpret differently, of course, and this is, again, a masculine world still, pretty much, in the edge of transformation, for sure. But, that she was what we see with a powerful goddess like she was, or a myth, an archetype that was feminine and so powerful, and she was at the beginning of the birth of civilization, and she is considered one of the 7 divinities, or even 4, some say 4 to 7 divinities that, civilized humanity, or even created humanity, which is, another creationary myth of Sumeria that says that the world was created by a feminine archetype, and the universe, everything that archetype of God was female, and that's where my first track came from. It really turned me on, and I became so touched by that. I don't know, in some part of me just started, remembering and feeling. And so with Inanna, it's like she's an offspring of that as well, which is so interesting. And she was also a goddess of love and war, they say. She was invested into whatever was happening. She had not been boxed like women have been boxed just because we are the wombs of creation and we have the option to carry on, and be pregnant and be mere mothers, or and we in Sumerian times that was just considered an option. Just because you have a womb doesn't matter that is your primary role. And women were viewed equally. It's pretty obvious because of what we find in history at that time. And then little by little, everything got distorted and changed, and there was definitely an agenda that was trying to take a little bit of the immense power that women held at that time, because maybe it just felt overwhelming. Maybe could it be that thousands and thousands of years ago, because history is a lot longer than we've been taught, that we castrated or we, emasculated the masculine? I don't know. What is it that happened that made that become, such a saga for us to have to go through so much enslavement? Not be allowed to study. We could not be allowed to dance anymore, or to sing, or to be a part of the world. Our world became our homes, and the world outside became man's world. And now we're in the process of reclaiming that, reclaiming also our divine authority, which is, Inanna was a priestess, a goddess. She was also teaching us about a sacred sexuality. Apparently, she was one of the primary, if not the first, that I know of. And then her name changed throughout history. In Babylonian times, she was Ishtar. It's very interesting. She's also associated with the Venus star, the morning and night star. She was called the Queen of Heaven and Earth. She was gloriously humongous, and people have never heard of it. So I became fascinated with it, fascinated with all her aspects, and it just came through, and I couldn't put it into words. That's why it's like I can't put all of that into words. It's impossible, right?
My grandmother taught me. This is really funny, but she taught me that men only think they're in charge, and that we are only, as women, letting them think they're in charge, but they're not really. And that
I know, I've heard that from my family too.
I know, it's really funny when you think about it, and she said if you just ignore the whole thing, you can go through life and pretty much do what you want. And I've pretty much found that kind of to be true. I mean, I've had instances that working for other people where there was sexual harassment and all this stuff, and it was said you couldn't get ahead. And I thought, okay, you can make choices to get ahead. How are you going to do that? And sometimes you leave employment and you seek out something different, which is why we have our own company. And see, so there are ways around what you might call it's a man's world.
Mm-hmm. And we are talking from we're in a very different place.
Yeah.
Even as North Americans here. I mean, we are very small part of the world, and we are ahead and we are gaining a lot of space. Like the Dalai Lama even himself has said that the Western women are the ones who are going to, be the progenitors of the new, coming reality or the new world.
You look at the shift, though. Look at the shift as things have been turning. It's like you can almost feel like, the shift of the planets and everything moving around, and it's like, okay, now we're going around this corner, and now we're gaining momentum. Like you can feel this absolute shift. One thing also in watching both your videos, Namu's Invocation, which everyone, over 2 million views on YouTube from last year. Really? That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And watching it, you understand. And you take us to these mythical places, you know, the big sand dunes and the ocean. I love the ocean that you have in this one now, your latest one, Tears for Inanna, because there's something about it. To me, you're representing the cycles. And there's something very, well, because of the waves, the lunar cycle too. And so that's very feminine because it's also mysterious for those who don't have that, who aren't women.
Well, I think you're right on again, you know.
Cleansing too.
And then with Namu's Vacation, I feel that I was feeling there was a depiction of an arc of a story where the divine feminine, you know, it starts on the dunes in the desert. It's like, so nature has been destroyed, right? So it's the symbolism of what we're doing to the earth, and it's like the coming down of the goddess, but she is mourning. And when I say goddess, I say the re-honoring of the beauty in the feminine, not just in women, but what feminine means in all of us. Women have walked away from their own feminine because we're living in a world where, you know, those values were not worthy. They were not viewed as needed or necessary. Everything feminine, including women, you know, were kind of weakened and put down and restricted within men as well. And with time, as we gained more freedom, and let me remind all of us, very hard earned, because we can't forget the women that came before. If you watch the movies and beautiful film that it recently made about women's liberation in either in England or in the United States, how many women were jailed and how many of us were dragged, you know, and how religion
around
is
the world. This is a global thing.
Connected to that. The power of religion to inflict this agenda on women. It's very strongly connected, and we're putting the pieces together because we've been around long enough to know. But basically, the history, the arc of the story on Namu is like this essence of the feminine coming back into the earth and penetrating our consciousness again. Men and women alike reevaluating and relearning the value of being soft and intuitive and connecting to, and even science is pointing us in that direction, because quantum physics now doesn't have logical explanations. We're really getting to the point where matter is not matter, and we've known that matter is energy. So how does that connect with spirit, with the different realms? In every way it does. We're not matter. We're vibrating matter that is perceived as, it's vibrating energy that is perceived as matter. So basically seeing this energy re-entering our consciousness and integrating again, which again is the polarities, the unification of polarities within ourselves and within our global community and culture, you know, multiculturally, and this transformation coming. And so she starts mourning the death and the disconnection in nature, on the physical world and also within our own nature. So it's like the macrocosm and the microcosm. And then she basically, you know, this is female archetypal goddess energy, divine, sacred, feminine, whatever you want to call it, dressed in black in the desert, starts to walk through and do the healing. So it's the same idea the Dalai Lama said, that, you know, that the women are going to save the world. It's not the women, it's the energy of the feminine being reintegrated into our consciousness that's going to save the world, because that's the energy that's not about domination, about competition. It's about coming together and thriving and creating beauty and preserving nature, knowing they were inherently connected. And it's not about conquering nature. It's about integrating ourselves with it, because we are nature. If we kill nature, we kill ourselves. Period. Point.
That's right. Well, it's the tree of life.
To be separated.
It's the tree of life. And I love that you talk about vibrations, because nature works on vibrations. It really does. I mean, even if you think about how whales know when to migrate, and birds and everything, even the way a plant moves. Yeah, you got a lot of plant medicine in you. I keep seeing plants. It's crazy. I'm like kind of tripping out a little bit ever since you talked about the opening of the flower. You know, it's that it is that vibration and that connection.
Women are the nurturers, okay, and I understand what you're saying. You can't just say women. It's feminine energy, okay. That's the nurturing part.
It's time to heal.
Okay. Now the other side of the coin would be the opposite, which would be the domination, the control, the war, the greed, the I want this, it'll be my way or the highway. That's and then you can say that most people harbor both of those within them to some degree. And so the trick is to balance and make sure you are who you want to be. And I
know
think
how
go ahead. Okay.
Well,
so go ahead.
No. Go ahead. God, you finish.
This is feminism at work, ladies and gentlemen.
So I think because
I thought you had stopped. I was gonna.
It's so funny because the way we categorize things and put words to things and divide them up in our minds so that we can easily put them and know where they are or talk about it. That sometimes the words we use make it. This is the way it is forever and today. Without giving that room, like when you talk about energy vibrating, that means it's moving and changing all the time and reacting to anything else that happens around it. So that's how life is, but that's not how we live. I mean, we put fences up, we put walls up, we have bookshelves where only books should go, and we do all of these things to be organized, and our actual nature really isn't like that, I don't think. I don't think that we were meant to be so boxed in straight corners instead of circles. I don't know how to say it, but,
you're supposed to flow.
Like it's the flexibility.
When you're outside, you can feel nature and you don't feel boxed in. When you're inside, you definitely are bouncing off the wall sometimes because
your vibrations are bouncing back at you because it's that's why I really love what you talk about vibrations, because vibrations and sound are
do the tree exercise.
She knows the tree exercise.
Yeah.
I know she does. But there's that thing where nature is free, and I think that regular society of now, that controlling part, the religion part you were talking about, they're scared of true freedom. It's fear.
Oh yeah.
Well, they just want a guarantee of what happens when you pass on.
And embrace the vibration, Today's the anniversary of the first Love-In in San Francisco, I just have to say.
But I like the dealing that goes on in it. If you behave yourself, you're going to go here. If you don't, you're going to go there. I mean, it's kind of what's behind door number 3,
Yeah, Kaliyani, I think this whole part, do you feel like, well, I did this meditation, reading The Secret Life of Plants, and to this day, I'm going to do it again because I know they did it, and then I started doing it, and it really happened. This book was out in the 70s, and they took leaves off of a plant, and this guy put 3 leaves next to him, and he would meditate with them every morning. I say with them because it was connecting, right? So this is where I think with your music and the stories you're telling is this greater connectivity, this giant connectivity where we understand the web of life truly. And he would meditate on these 3 leaves. And the other 3 leaves that he pulled off the plant, he put in another room and just ignored them. The leaves he ignored died. The ones that he meditated on every morning, and I think every night too, lived for months. No food, no water, just on meditation alone. So is that the level we're talking about with what you're saying of this, these past lives and vibrations? That is the vibration, the power of that vibration being able to sustain life.
No doubt about it. No doubt. I have no doubt. Yeah, it's
the Russians powerful. Did an experiment so many years ago where they took baby rhesus monkeys and they gave them all food and water. They were all sheltered. They weren't harmed in any way. But part of the monkeys that they had, think there were 4 monkeys that were never touched or talked to in any way, but they were fed and given shelter and given water and given air. The other 4 monkeys were talked to and caressed, and we're talking about newborns here, and they lived. The other 4 died just because nobody ever talked to them. They were just kept completely separate on their own. It sounds really horrible and cruel to me.
It's horrible. Just the thought of it.
I know, but I mean, it is actually a valuable experiment from the standpoint of showing that you can have food, water, and everything that you need physically to survive, but you need something more.
And that's what I was going to say with your music. Going out there, I mean, you weren't singing. I mean, and listen to the purity of your voice is incredible. It's like, you should be in the Apollo, singing the way you sing and the what you've written, and then just even the video work is incredible. The talent is there, and it's very, very pure. Through what we're talking about with vibration and it going out there, 2 million views, last year is amazing. Do you feel that your music going out there, is it like a vibrational thing that is connecting with people, just like Nancy says with the monkeys, and just like I was talking about with the leaves? Because I feel like society is feeling that way, that they aren't getting that kind of attention, that nurturing. Do you feel that your music is helping to ease that and create the positive growth of a better society?
I would hope so, and I've received much feedback in that way. I've actually, did not. I had a lot of resistance becoming a singer because I wear a lot of hats, as you know, and I didn't really ever dreamed of being a singer. This is part of the beauty of it too, because it just was so spontaneous, and it came late in my life, and which is, there were so many mental aspects of, my indoctrination and the cellular memory of what is proper or not, or what shoulds and shouldn'ts, how am I possibly going to, and then I had to go through a process of letting go of all of that and accepting that, I don't have to have a certificate to prove that I can sing or that I had a family that was connected to music. It is what it is. It's authentically what it is. I don't want to have to, I've disconnected from the idea that I have to follow any previously existing. Even as a singer, people are like, oh, when's your album out? I said, I have no idea. I don't have any plans. I'm doing what my spirit asks me to do. I don't have an attachment to what happens to it, and it's a beautiful place to come from. And I'm in a very privileged place. I realize, I don't need it to live from, and it's different from other people who want. And I feel terrible for people who want to live from music now, because it is not it's not an easy thing. The music industry has changed, and it's not. It's pretty hard. And out there, but I basically do what I do without any expectation, and I put it out there, and it just has to be authentic and integral to what I'm feeling, to what the message is, and to what's coming through. And I love art, so I make it, I love beauty, and I try to make it as beautiful and artistic as I can.
It is beautiful. I mean, all of it. That's the first thing. I was just like, wow, this is beauty. Like when you listen, it's beauty. It's transported. It transports you. It takes you on a journey. And I think when you can do it with a single, and make that single feel like you're listening to an album of beauty, that is
and when you think about an album, I just sometimes I would buy an album of my favorite artist, and I would only love 2 or 3 songs. The rest I would, okay. It's almost like a filler. So. And it's okay.
It's like, how do I make a whole album when I only have really 2 or 3 songs?
Exactly. Yeah. And I would rather have 2 and 3 songs that really move me than just have a whole album of things that are not really hitting the point. For me, at least for me, that's my experience. And with to go back to what you asked, one of the reasons that made me accept that I was supposed to put this out in the world as a singer and not just keep it to myself or use it in a documentary, which was the original idea. You know, I was creating a documentary, or I was doing research and developing a documentary for the depicting the renaissance of the divine feminine, or the sacred feminine in the world, and the importance of it. And the music came through first, and it took a life of its own, and then it was placed in a film, and you know, it just kind of. But the reason why I came out as a singer was because people who heard I had recorded music for a film or for a documentary came to me and asked me, "Can I hear it?" My friends, they would just be home and say, "Oh, I heard you," and I would just put them with vacation. This was in the beginning, before I even came out. I'll put the recording on for them, and I couldn't actually listen to it standing up or with my eyes open. I had to sit down and close my eyes because I could feel all the vibration going through. And people would start crying. They would just, several of them would just start crying. In the middle of it, sometimes, you know, they just, you know, it was very, very
it's that release.
Powerful.
It's the release.
And they almost couldn't put words to it, but it wasn't a crying of sadness. It was crying that, like a healing, a voice that came through them that they couldn't speak, and it's their voice. It's almost like they felt they were being expressed through that, you know, some part of them, and it was so overwhelming to them, and so it touched them, and they were in tears. So some of them sobbed literally, and I just kept observing that, and I knew what it did to me, but I didn't know if it was just because it was mine and I had such intimate connection with it. But when it started doing that to others, and people just, you can't just, you
need to.
You're an artist.
Yeah, you're being
and I'm
told.
Like, so,
dude, you will do it, man. You're being told. I wanted to bring up also, you know, it's that purity, and I think sometimes when art touches, and art's supposed to do that, and I just wish today we just should have called the whole show Integrity, because that's what it's about. It's that integrity, that authentic self, and that creative integrity, and I think that's important, and you're doing
oh my God, I'm
what is
so connected to that word. Integrity is like one of the fundamental values I believe in. I wish I had known that your show began earlier, because I thought it started with me.
Well, what we'll do is I'll send you the link so you can listen to the whole thing.
I will.
And it's so funny because I was talking about,
how
you know, we were all
perfect that you placed me on this.
It happens all the time. You know, you don't plan things like that. You know, here's the date, and there's this weird divine thing of, hey, this is the flow. It's about being the blend and not being closed off to focusing only on one thing. That's why we're the blend. When everybody told us variety's dead, and we're like, oh no, it's not. Everybody needs to be open to other things. You know, otherwise we don't grow. You know, if you want to stick and just, you know, want to watch one TV channel, oopsie, I'm going to go there. Then you know that's all you're going to see. But if you know, we've got all these different things. The world is so complex and amazing,
beautiful, and you let
connected.
it all blend and flow, and not separate. And it's
where does the ocean go if you keep damming it up?
Yeah, you can't. It told us you can't do that. You can't do that. You know, and that's the thing. Integrity. It was so funny because on the panel discussion I talked about, because I did a lot of singing on the blues side of things and rock, and talking about how I had to like shelve the teachings of singing like others to learn to just be myself, and it was so scary. And then once I did it, I was just like, man, I just wanted to get naked on stage, but not really, because you know what I mean? That freedom of like, you know, because I was a kid running around the bush in Africa, so like I did like to get naked. But there's a freedom in nakedness, everyone. But that's how it feels. And that's what I think is so beautiful of your music. Is like you can hear when someone's just being pure and free, and there's something just so important about that, and that message of now that we are our authentic selves, that we do things from those places, because as we progress, this is like it almost feels like it's the last. You know, it's not, because we always have cycles, but it's like if we want the future to be good, man, we really need to at this point be 100% authentic and real, and no anything around that, no dirtiness around it, because It's the only way to have true growth in a truly positive direction that is nurturing, that is healing, that is productive and good and wholesome and fun. That's what has to happen. So I think you're definitely one of those amazing people on that frontier of it. But, yeah, you should have just been on our panel discussion. We should have just had you on the show at the beginning with everybody. It would have been great. But you're here now, so that's cool. Before you go, I wanted to ask, Nancy's got one more thing. I
just really want to, I have to do the tree exercise because I know that she'll understand.
I know she's going to know it.
Yeah.
We're going to place bets now.
Okay, there's a tree exercise. We get on your hands and knees by a tree and put your right hand on the trunk of the tree. Close your eyes. So you're connected to the ground. Now you're connected to the tree, and you listen until your heartbeats match. Now, it sounds really crazy and weird, but it actually is. It's boy, especially if you have high blood pressure, go do it. Mm-hmm. It will slow everything down till you totally connect. And it's a great place to be. And it makes you understand that a tree, just because it doesn't have 2 or 4 legs and walk around, is a living creature that actually dominates the earth in that it cleans our air and it provides oxygen. And the more we chop them down, the more we endanger ourselves. The roots clean the water system before the water goes in the water table. The leaves are out there. They're cleaning the air, and we chop them down all the time without even thinking. Just boom, 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 chop them down. They're in the way, And I just feel like people forgot that we need them. Mm-hmm. Sounds like a real tree hugger, huh?
Yes, I am a tree hugger too.
Do you listen?
But you see that,
to the tree? Like, do you listen to the tree? I mean,
seriously?
Do you listen to the tree, and do you think rocks are alive?
Do you think? I'm sorry. What is the second?
I know
question?
that sounded crazy. Do you ever hear like the heartbeat of a tree? Like, do you hear that? And then do you think that it's the same question, really? That because I think all things are alive. Mm-hmm. And like if you go up to a rock, like a big old rock on a mountain kind of thing, like in the desert, and you put your ear up to it, I think they're alive. I think rocks are alive.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, good.
I have actually done meditations where I am just hiking and I will stop and I'll hold a leaf on a tree and it will actually speak to me. Like if I really fully connected my energy and blend with the tree, I can feel it give me a message or a word or something like that and give me a vision. And I feel like trees are powerful cleansers as well. Like when I come up to a tree and I touch it or hug it, I feel like, it's the grounding cord. It will suck anything that's out of harmony out of me. At least I feel, and it sends it all the way down into the earth like a grounding cord. And then when I connect to the leaves, it will fill me up with renewed energy and harmony and reorganize my body rhythmically or energetically. That's how I feel. I mean, trees are powerhouses. And when I see a big, giant tree, I live in an area that's filled with oak trees, and some of them are breathtaking. I literally I'm in awe. Some of them when I walk by, I have to stop, and I almost feel like I have to kneel and bow because they are just so extraordinary. I can feel the presence and the power. It's just incredible.
You're like us, man. I mean, we do our walks every morning. We started a Facebook group, 1 hour walk. I got to plug it out there. # 1 hour walk on Facebook because we get people outside.
That is so funny. You guys are on the same line with me.
Totally. It's the path, man. It's the walking path.
And you kept saying walking every morning too.
You got to see the sunrise.
45 minutes to an hour.
That's it. Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. Every morning, sunrise, and the days we don't do it, I swear everything starts to get crazy weird. But the mornings we do it, it's like you're taking this positive step forward. And when you see the sunrise, and sometimes it's this amazing, spectacular show. Sometimes it's like, hey, we don't have enough clouds for that, but you're going to get this kind of glow over here, but you're going to see a different light over there.
I know.
And it's up to you to choose your perspective. And then you take that walk in the morning, you wait for the different birds, you get to know the different seasons just by the sounds, by the, I mean, it's like the smell, it's everything. It's everything. And to me, if if I had one piece of advice for humanity, it's like go take a walk in the morning.
Yeah, right? Yes. Before you do anything else, connect. And that's what I feel like I've been just having to really go. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel right, you know, after
it's weird.
I
Do you
sit
feel
down and
urgent
meditate.
about it?
Huh?
Because we talk about meditation, taking walks, and your music is calming. It makes you just feel so centered. It really is very centering. Like I was like, okay, that's it. I can't work on the radio show and listen to your music. I have to just, you know, tune out. Like even when we do the show now, I can't quite listen to it like I would because it requires you to sit and listen. It's like one of those things where you are going to immerse yourself in it, and you're going to take a bath in your music. You know, just same thing as taking a bath with nature. Trees give you energy baths, and sunshine does it, and all these good things. But do you feel, I know we're talking about this calming side, and I got one more question and then we have to go, but do you feel, oh gosh, you've got another one here. We're running out of time, but do you feel as calming as, you know, everything we're talking about, this connectivity, and it's very beautiful, it's not altruistic, it's very real. Do you feel urgent? Like if you don't do it, like that you must, like an urgency of must doing it and an urgency that time is now. Because I feel
absolutely,
like we have to do things now.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
This year feels big. And not the year 2018. It's not necessarily what human beings made.
Yeah,
but it's
but
the
there is
cycle
a sense
of
of urgency for sure. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because the Earth is trying to say something.
I know.
And we need to listen.
We need to be one with her. Now, I wanted to bring up Oceana. This is a documentary film you're working on?
Yes, that's right. I am glad you brought it up. Yes. Yeah.
Tell us.
It is yeah, it is you know, my composer and partner in music, and he's very talented director and writer, and he's been a diver since he was 5 years old. I'm very blessed to work with somebody who's so talented, and when he literally went into depression in 2016 because one of his biggest dreams was to dive, and he has 15 diving certificates. You know, he has every category of training, and he's also he has been diving for National Geographic as well in the past, and he has a National Geographic diving card. So he's so connected to the ocean. So this is a very authentic, again, like, you know, it's what I like, to be involved in work that is authentic and that's helping humanity and is helping all of us thrive and heal. And so he been talking to me for a few years, about a couple of years, you know, I'm going to make this a documentary on the ocean, and I'm so devastated that we lost half, you know, 2/3 maybe of our coral reefs are gone at this point. And he started, you know, moving in that direction. He said, and I want you to do music with me for it, you know. I said, okay, just let me know when you're ready. And then he went off and did a couple of excursions and got some incredible 4K imagery and did a trailer and started a website, and then he's like, I'm ready to go. You know?
Right on.
And I was like so amazed. And then I said, Riz, but this is just like a document. She said, yeah, you know, it's dying. We gotta. I am so devastated. We gotta get whatever's left so we have it to show, and it's gonna have the most extraordinary music. It's gonna move, and it's gonna be, you know, and I hope it does something to people. And I'm like, but you know what? We have to bring some hope. You know, we can't just put a beautiful movie out there. And he says, there's no hope, you know, forget it, Kaliyani. It's like, are you dreaming? I said, no, there has to be a crazy, and this came out of my mouth on a phone call, okay? And we're going to do like a reenactment for the documentary, because I was like, there's got to be a crazy scientist somewhere there, because I don't believe I believe in solutions, and I think the solution to every problem already exists. We have to open to see and to have, you know, to believe, so we can go and find it. And when we believe that, we're going to activate the frequency of finding it, because we're going to vibrate in that frequency of solution, right? So I said, there's got to be a scientist out there that knows how to reseed the corals. This came out of my mouth. I'd never heard of it.
No,
And we found right away, we found two scientists, that were actually one of them, Dr. Kirby, who lives in Micronesia. He's been there for many years as a marine biologist. He coined the term coral gardening. And I said, oh, my God, this is incredible.
I love that.
So the movie now is about saving the corals. We have movies about things dying, whatever, and the corals dying, which has already been made, and now we have a movie that's going to bring hope,
I love this.
That's awesome.
Please come back on our show when this is ready for viewing, for people to go and see it, because we would love to have you on.
We actually would love to come before so we can spread the word on it, and people would jump. Before it comes out, we could already be talking about it. So when it's halfway there, maybe, so people can expect
you got
it.
our number. You call us anytime, because we have our whole nature connection thing that we do, and we are very, very dedicated to the natural world. It's what we have been doing since I was born, and since Nancy was born. That's all we do is keep, the good fight, and that's why it's the blend, because we keep trying to show it in different ways and show travel.
Connection.
And travel is part of the education. And it's about the natural world, and that's why we have another magazine, Parks and Travel. And for that reason, going to national parks and saving that piece of land, that piece of ocean, because a lot of our parks are marine parks, and they get, the eyes are closed at that, because if someone doesn't dive, they don't always see what's going on. And when people want to go and drill in those places, they don't understand like that side of it sometimes. So we're very into that, and I'm very excited that you're doing this documentary. So please, please, please keep in touch with us. Is StargateAlliance.net the best thing right now for that, for people to keep up with Oceana?
Or you can go to Oceana the movie.com, and but Stargate Alliance is a way as well. And great. Anytime you want to talk about it, also I could go on forever on integration of masculine and feminine as well. I feel like there were things that we could have explored together about that. So if you want me to come back, I'll be happy to do that as well.
Awesome. Well, it's been a true pleasure having you on the show, and I know there's so many things we could talk about for sure.
Yeah, and then Riz can come on the show with me, the director, and we can talk about Oceana whenever I come back to talk about Oceana.
Awesome. Absolutely. Please bring him on. Nancy's got one more thing.
Oh, okay. This whole,
all right.
Okay, I just have to say, and I have to be fast. This whole thing reminds me of one of the professors that I had in art college. At the end of the course, where the whole course was about meaningful brush strokes, how to make the brush do exactly what you want, how to mix exactly the right color, how to put it where you want, so that you get your message through. And on the very last day, he turned around and he goes, okay, now let's go backwards. And now just do the brush stroke you always wanted to do and compare the two, and which are you? And then he walked out of the classroom. And we were all like, what? And this conversation just kind of reminds me of that last thing where you have been taught this for so long. Keep it this way, do it that way, control it this way, make it say what you personally want, to why don't you just swing the brush and let it happen?
Let it flow.
Isn't it funny?
Let it
this
flow.
whole conversation, I started thinking about, like, what, man, I haven't thought about that
for
years.
I was thinking also, and
it's a really weird exercise.
That flowing thing and let it just go through you. That's where, like, when I learned how to sing my style, it was like unlearn everything you just learned, but I knew, like, technique and could learn that stuff. And then the band that I was with, they were like, I was like, when I sing, it was like a trance, and it's almost like, remember, I sing. I'm one of these barefoot people, and they all go, you need to stop closing your eyes. But I'm like, but I'm in this story, I'm in this place, I'm in this emotion, and they're like, no, you can't do it. And then of course I didn't stay with the band, and I went off to do my own thing, and that was good, But that feeling, and I think that's it's so important. What you're doing in this conversation is to really don't ignore the knocking on your spiritual door.
Oh, that's nice, Lisa. I like that.
Hey,
Yes.
that's exactly it. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. It's the time is now. Thank you, Kaliyani. Come back. We got lots to talk about. Everyone, again, KaliyaniMusic.com, and we're going to play Namu's Invocation. Namu reminds me of, it's a Kenyan thing to me for some reason. I don't know why, but it sounds Kenyan. The name, it's Kenyan. And I know you're going to get to it, Nancy, later. I know, but Namu's Invocation, here is the instrumental. Everyone, I really encourage you, go to KaliyaniMusic.com, go on iTunes and get the singles, and also go watch the movies with these. They're not just a video. This is like an experience. So thank you so much for everything, the conversation, the music, and the positive work you're doing.
Thank you.
All right.
I had phenomenal joy. Really enjoyed it.
We did too. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay.
Thank
Much
you.
love. Take care.
Here it is. Much love to you too. Everyone, Namu's Invocation. everyone again. That was Namu's Invocation by Kaliyani. Man, it's just so deep. Everyone, you can go to KaliyaniMusic.com and also iTunes to get the singles and watch her movies too with it. I mean, it's an experience. Like I said, that song it's deep to me. It's like
that's underwater,
strong
that
and
feels
beautiful.
Like underwater.
And then there's a feeling of like, you know how your mind races through all the things you've been through. It's like it has that too. You know, it's
reflective.
Yeah, that's it.
Contemplative.
Very good, Nancy. She's got the words for me.
I got words.
Yeah, but I do see all the there's plant things going on. Now I'm like...
It could be either one. That could be the whole growing of a plant from seed up and then blooming.
I know. When I hear music like hers and have a conversation with her like that, I just want to go create now. Now I want to go paint. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go paint.
Cool.
Don't mind me. But anyway, and I don't know how to paint. But anyhow, you're the painter.
You just don't think you do.
I know. You see, that's those negative thoughts, right? What an amazing show. We're going to close with some music, too. Wally Lauder. I have to play this, his song Mantra. Wally Lauder is a good friend of ours here out in Tucson. We play his music all the time on the shows. And we've been in the shows, a full week now since our anniversary, our 11th anniversary, and we play his songs all the time, and we haven't played one of his yet. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, Mantra was a song he did. We did a whole series on musicians who tied one of their songs to one of the keys of excellence, the 8 keys of excellence, and he did this for integrity. It's called Mantra. So check him out at wallylauder.com. But, we were talking about the 1 Hour Walk group. I encourage you to go and join our group on Big Blend magazine. If you go on Facebook and type in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, or just go to blendradioandtv.com and connect from there. Join our group. You'll see people post photos from their walks everywhere, and it's amazing, to see everyone's perspectives, and it's just such a healthy, good thing. So join us over there. It's cool.
We also have the one Positive People for
Peace and the Planet.
Join that as well.
Yeah, we have 5 different groups. And we're slowly getting them active and rolling, and we'd love to have you be part of it. And Positive People for Peace and the Planet, it's about, there's so much going on, and you can be angry and upset, and of course we're going to have emotions about what's happening. But this is a place to post action, supportive words, music, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So we also have creative Celebrating the Arts and Creative Spirit Facebook group. So everybody there is on Facebook. Check us out and come join us and have a conversation. We will be back on Wednesday, January 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're talking travel, tourism, animal welfare. It's our vacation station travel show, and we're going to go to Exeter, California, right outside Sequoia National Park. We're going to have one of our favorite kind of conversations. It's called The Locals Insider. When you go to a place, you want to hear from the locals what to see and do. What's it like to live there? What's it like to work there? And we have 3 locals joining us. Sandy Blankenship from the Exeter Chamber of Commerce. We also have the mayor, the lady mayor, joining us.
Oh,
and
cool.
then someone from Extra Hobbies is joining us, and we hung out there.
We play with those race cars.
Yeah, the interior race car stuff. It's really fun. And so they'll be on the show. And I'm going to close that segment with Hollywood history that Steve Schneikert of Exeter. And he talked about how people moved from the Dust Bowl over across to that area because it's the breadbasket of America. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, right after that part. After Exeter on our vacation station show, we have Adam Roberts back on the show. He's a wildlife conservation expert. He's been on our show since the beginning, years. And he's going to be talking about how to be a responsible traveler, keeping, animal welfare in mind when you travel. What can we do? Watch out what you purchase, what you eat, things like that. So how to, when you go to Mexico, sometimes you'll see them sell puppies at the border or birds. And you think, save the bird, buy it, because at least you're saving that bird. Well, when you do that, half the time, they'll go out and catch another bird. So sometimes you just have to, close your eyes, don't do anything, move forward, don't go over the border, don't do it. And so he's going to talk about that kind of thing. What can we do? And then we have Nicole Alden joining us. I'm really excited about this. She's an awesome lady. Talk about an incredible musician, too, something I found out. She created Brave Era. It's a naturally hypoallergenic luxury 100% silk travel sheet. And we're talking about mulberry tree silk. And it's a travel sheet. So now when you travel, she's a world traveler and been all over the world in different countries. And, you know, you're in a hot climate. What are you going to do? Get in your sleeping bag? And so it's like a sleeping bag but a sheet, and it's luxurious and it's lovely. And even if you're staying in a hotel, sometimes, like I know that, you know, I don't like all the chemicals that some of the hotels use in their bedding. So you can take this and use that as your sheet. So very,
nice.
Very cool. Yeah. So she'll be joining us to talk about her startup story. It's always interesting how these products get created and talk about world travel, and we'll play her music. So
cool.
That's going to be a great show again, everyone. Wednesday, January 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's our travel show. Again, you can keep up with us at blendradioandtv.com. We're also on Twitter at Big Blend Mag, and also go to nationalparktraveling.com. That's our site dedicated to travel and all our natural and historic places. Okay, so Nancy, we have to play Mantra. Are you ready?
Yeah,
I know, very excited. So Wally Lauder, check him out at Wally Lauder, and that's Lawder, Wally Lauder. Here is Mantra, one of my favorite songs. Take care, everyone. See you on Wednesday.
Sky this morning, the way the blue turned into violet, tones of peach on the horizon, strings of wispy clouds just off the rim. Or were you crazy for the mantra? You must have more, one more thing. Work a little more for one more thing. Don't stop now, you're almost there. One more, one more, one more, one more. Did you feel the wind today, moving through your hair so messy? Did you see it bend the trees? Did you watch the red-tailed hawk so high? Or were you crazy? You must have more, one more thing. Work a little more for one more thing. Don't stop now, you're almost there. One more, one more, one more, one more. We got to find our way out of this. We're missing too much in our busyness. Did you look into her eyes, see the beauty that is there? Did you gaze into her heart, see the very artistry of love? Or were you crazy? You must have more, one more thing. Work a little more for one more thing. Don't stop now, you're almost there. One more, one more, one more, one more. We got to find our way out of this. We're missing too much in our busyness. I want to fly away, leave this madness far behind. Let new visions come my way. Listen to the mantra that is mine.